In today's video, I will share with you habits that are crucial in learning a foreign language. A process of learning, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And that's why you need right habits that will keep you running even though you don't feel like it, so you can eventually become fluent. This channel is all about language learning, so if you are interested in those topics and you wanna see my future videos, click the subscribe button. With that being said, let's go! Habits to succeed in language learning. Number 1. Master the right mindset. Recently, I read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. I created a whole video about this book, so I will link it at the end of this video so you can watch it as well. I think that this book is also very relevant to language learning, because the author of this book illustrates that people are very often focused just on an outcome. So, for example, for you it can be that you just want to get to B2 level in English, German, or any other foreign language. But we should be actually focused on becoming a different person. So you should be focused on becoming a person who is passionate about learning a foreign language and who can speak it fluently. I think it is so important because then, if you manage to change your identity, studying or listening to a foreign language will become a part of who you are. It won't be a separate thing that you feel forced to do. This requires from you full commitment and dedication before you even start learning anything. But after you actually start learning a foreign language, this is when some doubts can come to your mind. And then the most important thing is basically believing in yourself, believing in your knowledge and abilities, and trusting the process. So this first point, it's not about studying so much, it's about your general attitude. Because I've observed that the right attitude can change everything. If you have the right mindset, all the things that at first seemed impossible for you become possible. That's why one of the best habits in language learning is to always look at the bright side. So don't think how much you don't know. Think of how much you've already learned, because this is the way to motivate yourself. Learn to celebrate your achievements, no matter how small or big they are. Habits to succeed in language learning. Number 2. Comprehensible input and challenging yourself. Building a habit of exposing yourself to text, books, and some YouTube videos that are slightly more advanced than your current level is a way to progress much faster in learning a foreign language. Comprehensible input is a concept in language acquisition theory introduced by Stephen Krashen. It refers to language input that is slightly beyond your current level of comprehension, but still within the range when you can understand and learn from it. This type of input is considered to be optimal because it helps you to acquire a language naturally and intuitively, and you can also learn a lot from a context. The way you can practice it is to choose language materials that are slightly more difficult, but still understandable for you. And don't forget to challenge yourself when after some time they will become too easy. Habits to succeed in language learning. Number 3. Treating language learning as a way to relax. At the beginning of learning new foreign language, it is important to build a habit of just spending time with a language. And for that, you can also use beneficial multitasking. During our day, every one of us does a lot of activities that don't require from us high level of mental focus, like eating, driving, watching TV, or shopping, for example. And we can transform them into something beneficial, and it's actually called habit stacking. And this is a concept that comes from the book Atomic Habits that I mentioned in the first point. The idea of habit stacking is relatively simple, and I think that this is why it works so well, because you just add a new behavior to your daily schedule by stacking it on the top of existing habit. Honestly, the time when everything changed for me was when I started treating language learning as a fun way to spend my time. I used to listen to English when I was eating, when I was waiting in a queue, or when I was just bored. Listening to a foreign language became my habit that was both educational and entertaining. Later, I obviously discovered some amazing YouTube channels, and I could only listen to some of my favorite YouTubers in English because that was their native language. So it also motivated me a lot to study even more. The most important thing was that my perception changed. I realized that learning a foreign language gives me a lot of opportunities, and it can also help me to connect with many interesting people. And that's why I started liking it. A different language is a different vision of life. Federico Fellini. This quote means that people who can speak multiple languages can broaden their horizons, and they can understand a different perspective on the world. So start thinking that learning a foreign language is something that you want to do in your free time, instead of thinking that this is something that you have to do, because this simple habit helped me to learn so much more in a fun way. Habits to succeed in language learning. Number 4. Practicing output on your own. A habit that will help you to speak a foreign language fluently and confidently is practicing output on your own. Let me explain how it works. So imagine that you have a job interview and you just go to this job interview straight away. You are completely unprepared and you don't even remember the position that you applied for. In this case, this job interview is gonna be stressful and uncomfortable for you. And right now, imagine a different scenario. Imagine that you know somebody who applied for the same position as you and got the job. Imagine that this person told you all the questions that were asked during the job interview, so you can prepare earlier. In this case, you're gonna be much more confident and relaxed, right? So this is exactly the same in language learning. If you haven't practiced enough input on your own, you're gonna feel a bit uncomfortable and a bit lost when you have to speak a foreign language in everyday life. So you may not know what to say and it can be quite stressful. Output is all about producing the language and practicing your active language skills. So you can improve the way you communicate by practicing speaking and writing on your own. Journaling is a great way to do that. I used to journal a lot in English, and currently I'm focused on writing my thoughts for YouTube videos in English. For many people, journaling means that you just write about what happened to you each day. But the problem about it is that it can become a bit predictable, and you can just run out of ideas after some time. I used to journal in a way that I was expressing my own opinion on some different controversial topics. But you can also do some problem solving while writing. So you can write about something that you had to face at school, work, or at the university. Another way to practice writing is to describe a process of something in a few steps. So, for example, it can be an explanation of how you can prepare your favorite dish. I think that this is a great way to prepare yourself for the real conversation. And it will also help you to build up your range of vocabulary. If you have any questions to what I said, don't hesitate to write me a comment, because I answer most of them. Check out my other videos, for example the one that is visible on the screen right now. It is based on a book, Atomic Habits, that I mentioned before. Thank you for watching and see you there.